Good afternoon, everyone. Now, next we'll start consideration. As earlier I told, the meaning of consideration, the both the parties should have the benefits. The promisee also have the benefit and promiser also have the benefit is called the consideration. According to Pollock, consideration is the price for which the promise of the other is bought, and the promise thus given for value is enforceable. Here, according to Pollock, what he says, both the parties have get the benefits is called the consideration. And one more person told, Curie versus Miza said that consideration was defined as some right, interest, profit, or benefit accruing to one party, or some forbearance, detriment, loss, or responsibility given, suffered, or undertaken by the other. So here both the parties need to suffer, or they are having the profit, or both the parties may have the loss is called the consideration. So it is nothing but it is a get something and do something, get something, it is called the consideration. Next we'll see the essentials of a valid consideration. So first one is consideration must move at the desire of the promiser. So here promiser has to do, promise must be done at the desire or the request of the promiser. So promiser and promisee, one who does the promise is called the promiser, and one who takes the promise is called the promisee. As offerer and offeree is there, the same here promiser and promisee will come. Here consideration must move at the desire of the promiser. So whatever the desire of the promiser is there, that according to that the consideration or a promise will move. Then second one, here desire means, promiser desire means self-helping nature. With example I'll tell, X sees Y's house burning and helps in extinguished it. He cannot demand payment for his services because Y had never asked him to come for help. Here two persons are there, X and Y persons are there. So X sees Y's house. Y's house was burning over. Then X went to help him. So X cannot demand for money because of his desire. He has gone to help the Y. So he cannot demand for the money. So here it is the consideration must move at the desire of the promiser. Who is the promiser here? X is the promiser here. Y is a promisee, but X did not promise anything, but himself he desired that and he went to his house and he helped that. So because Y did not call for X for a help, so X cannot demand for a money. The next second one, consideration may move from the promisee or any other person. So consideration can move from the promisee or any other person. It is not necessary that consideration must move from the promisee alone. It may also move from the third person also. The next one, consideration may be past, present, or future. So whatever the consideration is there, that may be past, present, or a future. So past means X renders some services to Y at the latter's desire. After a month, Y promises to pay some compensation for his service. It is a past consideration. So it means X renders some services to Y, but today X X renders services to Y's house, and what Y says, I will pay you some other time. So the consideration has become past, so it is called the consideration may be past event, so that is the past consideration. Then next, future consideration means best example is a booking. So I am paying this much for next 2 to 3 days, you need to come to our house and you need to render the service. So this is the future consideration. Then present consideration means whatever the present going on, he has come to house and he render the service, and we have paid the immediately we have paid the amount. So this is the present consideration. Next, consideration may be positive or negative. Already we have discussed on this. The consideration may be positive or negative. The consideration may be an act to do or not to do. Is called the consideration may be positive or negative. The next one is consideration need not be adequate to the promise but must be of some value in the eyes of law. So here consideration need not be adequate to the promisee. So we should not think only the point of promisee, or according to the law whatever consideration is there, that should be legal. So it is here consideration need not be adequate to the promise but must be of some value in the eyes of law. So according to the rules and regulation, according to the law, the consideration should be there between the promisee and promiser. The promiser should not think only of the promisee. Then next here, consideration must be real. So consideration must be real. So it should not be imagination, it should not be impossible, it should not be uncertain, like that. Though consideration must be real means whatever it is going on, so this should be real, not real. So it is called the consideration must be real and not illusory, impossible, uncertain. So for example, I promises to run 100 miles per hour for 5 hours. Is it a consideration? Do you agree with this? No. This is a physically impossible. I cannot run 100 miles per hour for 5 hours. So, and I promise to convert brass into gold with mantras. So, it is a possible from me? No, it is a just illusory. So, this is a just imagination of mine. So, it is called the it is not called the consideration. The whatever consideration is there, that must be real. Next one is consideration must not be immoral or opposed to public policy or illegal. So here the consideration will be with the lawful, friendly with legal. So it should not be harmful to the public, harmful to the law, rules and regulations. Hope you understood. If you don't understand anything, you can message me personally. Then next one is capacity of parties. I already discussed about this capacity of parties, who can liable to make the contract, who are not liable to make the contract. So capacity to contract means the competence of the parties to enter a valid contract. So every person is competent to contract. Here, who all are the competents in the contract? The person who is of the age of majority. So he has a thinking capacity and he is knowing what is the right and wrong. So he has that thinking capacity and he is the competent to contract. Then second person is who is of sound mind. Sound mind means the person can understand what is the right and wrong. So is called the sound mind person. Is a person competent to contract. Then third one is he should not disqualified from contracting by any law, means he has not taken the he must have not met any illegal rules or a illegal contract with other person. So these all are competent to contract. Then who are not competent to contract? First one is the minors, those who are not crossed 18 years old. Then next, person of unsound mind, because they don't know where they are, what they are thinking, what they are going to do. So unsound mind persons will not be able to do any contracts. Then the person disqualified by any laws, he is not able to do any contract. So this is important for 2 marks. Who is a minor? Minor is a person who has not completed 18 years old. So 18 years of age is called the minor. First we'll understand the minor. Next one, law relating to, next here the law relating to minors agreement. So what are the law related to the minors agreement? First of all, it is not possible with the agreement between the minors and majors here, but two will understand. Absolutely void means an agreement by or with a minor is absolutely void and inappropriate. So here whatever you do the agreement with the minor, it is not valid. Then second one, no ratification. No ratification means since a minor's agreement is not valid, it cannot be approved by the minor on attaining the age of majority, because he has not crossed the 18 years old or reached 18 years old, so he is not able to make any agreement. The next one, no estoppel. Estoppel means hindrance, self-hindrance. The rule of estoppel does not apply to a minor. Estoppel means misrepresenting his age. Best example, just being a minor, what he says, I am a major, by saying a lie, if he makes any agreement, that is not applicable according to the law. What he says, being 15 years old, what he says, I have crossed the 18 years old, and if he makes any agreement, it is not valid. The next one, no restitution. No restitution means it does not give them liberty to cheat men, being even though he is a minor, but they don't have any rights to cheat other men. The next, minor beneficiary. Next we'll see minor beneficiary means, first one, a minor cannot be a promiser, but he can be a promisee or beneficiary. See here, the main part will not taken by the minor here. So he can be promisee, he can get the benefit, but when the liability comes, that time minor will not be liable for that liability, but he can be the promisee or a beneficiary. Then next one is, next point is minor partner. So minor partner means a minor cannot be a partner of a firm since he is incompetent to enter into a contract, but according to section 30 he can be admitted to the benefits of partnership. minor cannot become a partner, but he can be admitted to the benefits of a partnership. He has the no rights to take part in the management. Only because of the partnership benefit he can be only for the namesake the minor can be there, but he has no rights to take any active participation in the management. Only for the namesake he can be. The next one, specific performance. There can be no specific performance of a contract entered into by a minor. So, however, he is a minor, he cannot perform any specific agreement, but minor's guardian or manager can do that. Here, minor have don't rights to do any specific performance, but instead of the minor, guardian or a manager can do this. Next, minor agent. A minor can be appointed as an agent. He shall bind his principal by his acts done in the courses of such agency, but he cannot be held personally liable for negligence or breach of duty. Here, minor can be appointed as an agent, but whenever the liability comes, he will not be liable to take any liabilities. Only he can be there for a namesake. Then next, minor shareholder. Minor cannot become a shareholder of any company. Contract by a minor and an adult jointly. If contract has been made by a minor and an adult jointly with another person, the minor is not liable under it. So whatever in this chapter is there in the minor topic, on minor is maybe only for the namesake. He has no rights and the agreement is also not valid. Then surety of a minor. Surety means the surety he may be, but the adult is liable and not the minor. The surety is if with a stands surety for a minor in a contract of guarantee, the adult is liable and not the minor. If imagine any surety is there with any adult, so the adult is liable for that. Adult and minor both have made the crime. The adults are liable for that, but not the minors. Minor's parents. The minor's parents are not liable for any agreement made by the minor. So why the parents will bear that when minor has done? Because minor has no thinking capacity which is right and which is wrong. So minor never be whatever you do the agreement between the minor, so it is invalid. Minor's liability in tort. Tort means wrongful act. So minor's liability in wrongful act means a minor is liable for his civil wrong. So whatever the civil wrongs he might have done, provided the tort is in reality a breach of contract.